For those who are subscribed to the channel, you'll know I absolutely love portable audio. So when I set my eyes on the Fauna glasses, pun intended, I was very much curious because they're available as prescription or indeed sunglasses, such as the Spyro transparent lens that I've got over here, and also integrate built-in speakers, giving you an on-ear design. Now, in this review, you can see if they're actually worth their price tag, because in the UK, they cost roughly £250, across Europe can be found for around €250, and in the US can be found for roughly $150 to $200. So to kick off this review, I do want to talk about connectivity, and here they connect over Bluetooth, whereby the SBC and AAC codecs are used only. It's a shame not to see higher quality codecs such as aptX or, for example, LDAC in operation, although given the use case of the glasses, I don't think it's going to be a massive issue. However, it is something worth pointing out that there is no Bluetooth multi-point support. In other words, you cannot connect up to two different devices simultaneously, and instead you'll have to repair the glasses to said device. I do think this is somewhat of an oversight from the manufacturer, because they could have provided better support across multiple devices for those who are switching, let's say for example, from a laptop to a smartphone. Now elsewhere, I should mention that I had no problems when it came to connecting up to my Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus over the AAC codec, and therefore didn't incur any sort of lip sync delay or video lag, and indeed could go around 10 to 15 meters away from my smartphone, and I didn't incur any sort of dropouts either. So with that out of the way, let's get on to something equally important, and that is when it comes to listening back to the glasses and how it's going to affect your surroundings. By that I mean if it's going to be bothering anyone around you. Now what I'll be doing is placing the camera roughly 1 meter away from me and then getting closer to roughly 30 centimeters. I'll be playing back my friend's track, which is titled Like Me, and it's from Priya J. You can hear it for yourself down in the description below in case you're interested. Now indeed, you probably heard Priya J's vocals coming from the glasses, and indeed they can be heard. Of course it depends in terms of the overall volume that you're playing back at, but I think most people will be playing them up at roughly 70 to 100% volume. And in this respect, if you're in a quiet noise environment and you really want to enjoy your tracks, then unfortunately your surroundings, the other people who are around you, are going to be able to hear everything that you can hear as well. Potentially not as clearly, but nonetheless they will be able to pick it out. Now this is a cause for concern for those people, let's say, sitting in a library, for those people who are going to be in and around the home, or for example for those people commuting. However, doing the same sort of test while I was out and about, in other words walking through a park, here I don't suspect anyone will be able to hear it due to the overall wind noise. Here's a little demo of how that comes across. Now that little demo should give you a little bit of an indication as to how it would perform if you're out and about, in other words in the open world. Don't want to sound like a game, but nonetheless over here you were able to potentially hear the fountain coming from behind the camera while Priya J's vocals were coming from the glasses. Yet again here the volume was roughly 80%. Now in this respect I don't think it's going to be a problem for those people, let's say wandering the park, or for example using them if they're for example biking, or using them for any sort of sport activities when you're out and about. The real problem is that, and what I'm trying to reiterate over here, is that if you're going to be in a quiet noise environment, you're going to have to significantly reduce the volume of the Fauna glasses in order for you not to bother anyone that's sitting next to you. Now expanding on my previous point, I feel that the overall volume that one can attain with these glasses is a little bit low. Now don't get me wrong, at 100% volume they will be very loud for a lot of people, but I suspect some people over there who are getting such devices will be potentially hard of hearing, and in this respect you might actually find it a little bit too low. Specifically if you're treated with a very busy environment, then you might actually find yourself often cranking it over 80% like I did. Now just to give you an indication competition with my own hearing. Often when I'm using true wireless earbuds or, for example, Bluetooth over-the-ear headphones or on-ear headphones, I often use them at roughly 60 to 70% volume, often not exceeding 80% because it becomes too deafening loud. However, with the Fauna glasses, I really had to crank them up a lot louder in order for really me to enjoy my music. Now this does perfectly lead me onto its audio reproduction, and here I must say that I was left a little bit disheartened. Not because it doesn't actually do well across the frequency range, far from it actually sounds pretty accurate and does a pretty good job in terms of its reproduction. However, in comparison to true wireless earbuds, be it in-ear or over-the-ear, or on-ear or over-the-ear headphones, they're absolutely no competition. Indeed, a lot of other audio devices that I've reviewed to date do a far better job of delivering a much more engaging experience, and unfortunately these glasses just really can't compete with audiophile grade products out there on the market. Now, be it if you're an audiophile or not, I still feel that you will appreciate some on-ear devices which sit a little bit closer to the ear or indeed have bone conduction technology, therefore excelling at the lower end frequencies. So let me break it down in terms of the sound frequency range, and first off, in terms of the sub-bass tones, it's somewhat non-existent. That rumble that you would come to expect on, let's say, R&B, D&B or EDM tracks is not really there. However, on the flip side, the mid-bass is very much present. You can definitely hear it, and of course you can't quite feel it because of the positioning of the speakers, but nonetheless should suffice for a lot of consumers. As for the mid-range, the lower mids are a little bit pushed back, but on the flip side, the upper mids come out pretty clearly. For example, when I was using Priya J's track, I actually felt pretty engaged by listening to her vocals. Similarly here, the highs do extend to a certain degree and do sound rolled off a little bit, but will still give you that toe-tapping feeling. As for the soundstage, it's a little bit of a hard one to describe because you've got this on-ear design on a set of sunglasses, or of course prescription glasses, depending on which model you go for, and in this respect here I felt that the overall soundstage was decent, but the positional cues, the instrument separation, the overall width and depth and that sort of engagement that one might be able to attain with a set of earbuds and headphones just wasn't there. So what about when it comes to recording quality? Well, everything you can hear right now is coming directly from the glasses, and what I'll say subjectively is that it's actually not too bad, although it does pick up a few background noises due to the positioning of the microphones, and also there is some sort of little crackles that can be heard. Now, just to continue talking and taking off the glasses and then putting them back on, just for example, if you're on a call and you just want to talk to someone for some given reason, then I just wanted to kind of replicate how that would actually sound. So moving swiftly on, we get onto its design, and subjectively I think they're pretty stylish. They're available in a few different finishes, and the Spyro Transparent, at least in my opinion, looks pretty good. Now, these are sunglasses and therefore use the Carl Zeiss Vision sun lenses, and in this respect do provide good UV blocking, UV 400, and also are BPA free, which is definitely great to see. But of course, if you do not want that and you want something that is going to give you some sort of blue light protection, for example, if you're using them in and around the house, then they will have the Zeiss DuraVision Blue Protect lenses instead. Now, elsewhere, the glasses are water and dust resistant, whereby they're IP52 rated, and here it means that you cannot submerge them, so it's just worthwhile considering. Now, this is because they have got touch-sensitive sliders that are found on either side. Now, the left and the right ones are a little bit different, whereby the left touch sensor is going to be the one that you're going to be using for media controls, and the right one is going to be one that you're using for pairing or indeed accessing your voice assistant. Now, what I found is that the touch sensitive pads over here are a little bit slow to respond. Specifically, for example, if you are going into the next song, it does take quite a while before the glasses actually respond to that input, which is something I wish that could have been a little bit better optimized or indeed potentially customized if there was an app. Now, you might have noticed that the glasses do not have any sort of physical connection, and that is because they've got these gold-plated connectors that sit on either side and therefore are used to recharge via the case. Now, the case itself is pretty chunky to say the least, but it does have a USB Type-C port with 4 LEDs, which gives you an indication of the remaining charge, be it of the case or indeed of the glasses. You'll get up to roughly 20 hours of usage, but in this respect, if you're using them at a given time, in other words, continuously, you should expect roughly 4 hours of audio playback. And from my test, I felt that it was pretty much on par with the manufacturer's claims. Now, my biggest complaint about the glasses is actually when it comes to comfort. See, after using them for over 30 minutes, I just felt that the clamp force was just a bit too strong, meaning that I actually resulted in taking off the Fauna glasses just to give my head a little bit of a break. Now, I appreciate everyone's head shape or size is going to be different, and you can also get these adjusted via an optician, although here I don't feel that the adjustments are actually going to make any difference in terms of the overall clamp force. Now, I have had similar problems with some other headphones out there on the market which are just too tight. Now, those headphones are actually a little bit more designed for sportswear, and in this respect the Fauna glasses will not have any sort of problems, at least on my head, when doing any sort of intense workouts. But for using them for a, let's say, a leisurely walk, or for example using them in and around the house, I just felt a little bit uncomfortable, specifically using them on longer listening periods. And this is something that I thought to note because it's not something of a problem that I have with my regular reading glasses or indeed my sunglasses. So with all of that in mind, it brings me on to my verdict, and quite frankly the Fauna glasses are actually not too bad. They're competitively priced, are pretty stylish, and are available in different sort of finishes. They've also got decent recording quality, and the audio quality is not too bad when paired over Bluetooth. However, I do think they're a little bit of a niche product, because you can't really use them in a quiet noise environment due to them bothering other people who are sat next to you, and equally you won't be able to really use them on a busy commute. I can only really see the purpose of these glasses being used, let's say, if you're sat on your own or at home, if you're, let's say, going on a hike, or for example using them on a bike ride. If you're someone who falls in these categories, then you might actually find this product to be actually pretty impressive. But nonetheless, I'd be intrigued to hear your thoughts of the glasses down in the comment section below, and if you've liked this independent detailed review, definitely do consider dropping a like, subscribing and hitting that bell notification, all of which are greatly appreciated. As such, I've been Totally Dubbed, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.